this is going to be a really turning point for them where they need to start having a real competition. They need to start having games that are going to be a reason why people should buy an Xbox. Because I feel now in 2026, there's literally no reason to buy an Xbox. There's a good reason to buy a PC and there's a real good reason to buy a PS5. But for Xbox, what do you really get? AI in gaming is a great thing if it's used properly. But I do worry when I see where the next direction of Xbox could be going, that they push all the chips in on AI. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 264 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
Justin, how we doing today?
Doing pretty good. I got more energy than before we signed on because I got worked up talking about a bunch of stuff, and I had a bit of a soda, not sponsored.
Yeah.
But if you do want to sponsor,
I was going to say,
I got more energy.
Side note, I don't think anybody in maybe I'm wrong. I'm naive to it. Anyone's gotten a sponsorship from any Pepsi Cola brand out there, that's mega.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That's
Can you imagine
huge,
if Scum got sponsored by Coca-Cola?
In gaming, yeah. In gaming, yeah. I mean, they have Monster.
Yeah.
But I think Monster is an entity of Pepsi, though, technically. But getting like a Pepsi sponsorship, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
That would be huge.
I
mean, if any drink brands, hit us up. We've done we've done 264 episodes, 0 sponsored. So we're not paid to talk about any of this stuff.
Is unbiased, unfiltered. We just say how it is. And yeah, I mean, bro, we were just hyped up because we were talking for a while. Most people could probably relate to this anyway. Just people who have no drive in whatever they do, little life thing about it. That's like a thing for you and me, and in general, it bothers us so much with people. And people listening, I guarantee they have people out there that are like that. They just talk and they talk. I think it was Sam on the flank that said it. I think it was him or I forget exactly who it was that said it on there, but it was great because they were talking about someone saying some shit, and he was like, "So easy to talk, so easy to talk."
I think it was.
I love that. I was like, dude, what a great thing, because there are so many people that just love to talk, but they don't actually do anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you let them sink or swim, man. That's what I've learned.
Yeah, it's definitely the mentality to have with those people. Just kind of, if they're going to be that way, you just let them be that way. You maybe throw them like a life preserver every once in a while, but if they don't grab it, don't keep throwing it to them.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is.
The hope is they realize, oh, okay, they need that life preserver. Let me go and take it, or they just sink.
Yeah,
fine, just sink. It's whatever.
And if that happens to them, then fuck them. That's just the way it is.
It's chalk.
But I'd say so. A couple of things we got to talk about. We have a whole bunch of CDL stuff that we do need to talk about because we talked about this last week and it has popped off, Justin. There's been a lot of news, even just like the day of recording this, there's been more news regarding teams and whatnot. And just this whole weekend of matches was psychotic. So we will get to that. But something that did happen a couple of weeks ago that I wanted to talk about and get your opinion on it was in regards to Microsoft. I'm sure most people have heard by now regarding Phil Spencer, who was the head of Microsoft's gaming area, and he's been there. I think he's been there pretty much since the inception of it. I want to say he's been there. He is the OG of OGs, and definitely brought Microsoft into a new era and was a legend for that. But he has stepped down. I think he's just going to be going into something else entirely. I think they kind of say that he retired. Whether you think that's corporate speak for he did retire or he was asked to retire, I think is kind of up in the air right now as to what happened with him. Yeah. He was probably told nicely, we think there's another opportunity for you elsewhere. So and if my voice is going, by the way, I've been losing my voice. I'm slowly getting it back. So forgive me. But he stepped down. This was huge news because again, he's been there forever and he's been there through the successes and recently with Microsoft and Xbox, all the failures. Um, and now they're having this new person coming in, which is same thing with Microsoft, but it's the president of AI in Microsoft as a Asha Sharma. And when everyone heard that this person was in the AI department, everyone lost their minds and jumped to conclusions thinking that this truly is the end of Microsoft and of Xbox because they're just going to take everything that they've got right now and already kill it and pretty much just go full bore into the AI realm, which we've talked a lot about this in gaming. And I'm curious to think what you think about Phil Spencer leaving, but also with this new person coming in, are they gonna
Mhm.
continue his legacy or are they just gonna completely go into AI and make absolutely dog shit games?
Yeah, I mean, which first off, I'll say that if this topic is interesting for you guys, go join the Discord because again, we talk about everything in the Discord. And if this topic isn't that interesting, we have timestamps down below so you can skip to the CDL piece and you can hear our thoughts about
Mhm.
CDL. But I personally think that, I mean, it sucks that Phil Spencer's retiring, stepping down, whatever. That sucks. But I think people are blowing up the AI, like, part about her, yes, being the head of AI at Microsoft and now coming in. I think at the end of the day, what she's going to do is protect their bottom line and try to be more profitable for their stakeholders. But I I think AI is a good tool, but it's also really bad. I think within the next 5 to 7 years, AI is going to be taking over a lot of jobs in general. That's my take. Who knows if that'll actually happen? But in terms of gaming and games in general, I don't think we're personally going to see anytime soon where AI is just going to develop a whole game at all. I do because what AI can't do well right now, at least, is the storytelling. Storytelling is what differentiates a great game from a good game. And storytelling, just in general, for gaming and other like, jobs, whatnot, it's so important. And I don't think AI is there yet. But with her coming in, I do believe that she's gonna obviously try to be more efficient. And if there's a group or parts of creating a game that developers are having a hard time with, AI is going to be implemented. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the whole game is going to be built with AI, like cutscenes or I don't know, like animations, things like that. I think they'll use AI to make specific tasks easier for the developers, but it won't replace the storytelling. So it's probably a cop out answer, but I think it's good on both sides. I just hope she has, which I'm sure they do, people around her to help out with the gaming piece, like understanding the gaming culture at Microsoft instead of going full AI. Because one, I think that's just scary to go completely full AI. You don't know what you're going to get. And two, I think if you're research AI or use it in work, it's not completely accurate. You have to go back and check it. So I think it's going to be a good and bad thing, but hopefully with AI helping these developers, helping them with specific tasks, it frees up more time for them. And hopefully that time they can use for other things within the game that they're creating or, more efficiently or create a better story, things like that.
Yeah. And I do agree. I think it's going to be hopefully used that way. We won't see it at any time become a serious problem where at least maybe I could be naive to it, but I don't think again it's really there just yet the technology, or if it is, like we saw a little bit perhaps with Black Ops 7 with the campaign, if they did use AI to actually write that story, you can tell because it's so
Mm,
horrible, you know? So I think there would definitely be holes in the gaps like that, humans need to be filling. But my thing too with this is what are they gonna make? Like, this is a bigger problem beyond this because obviously with Phil's tenure there and the games that were developed and the studios that were under Microsoft and, publishing and making games, they had an amazing run. But then it was within the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so, maybe people would cut that down to right before COVID and now, which, we're kind of actually approaching 10 years anyway with all that, like right before it. Um, they just canceled more games than they really make. And that's the problem that you don't ever wanna have if you're, like, a gaming studio, or you publish games. You wanna be putting out way more games and having more developers and more, just more studios coming in to work under you. And they are in the exact opposite. They've had some success, like, I remember they had Hi-Fi Rush, which was a huge game, and then they, like, canceled it. They just shut the studio down. And this has been a trend for them. And I don't know if they're gonna try to continue this. Like, they're just gonna be in this mentality of, like, being really particular with games, and maybe they just use AI as, like, "Okay, that's gonna be our main launching pad, and we'll kind of fill in the gaps with the humans that we have, the actual workers that
mhm,
we've got." Or if this is going to be a really turning point for them where they need to start having a real competition. They need to start having games that are going to be a reason why people should buy an Xbox. Because I feel now in 2026, there's literally no reason to buy an Xbox. There's a good reason to buy a PC and there's a real good reason to buy a PS5. But for Xbox, what do you really get? There's no exclusives really anymore. Like, I mean, we have Halo coming to PS5, what I
mhm.
never thought we'd ever see. Um, there's just real no incentive to go to Xbox. And is this new leadership going to be the move that like starts to get the ball rolling as to making Xbox great like it once was? Um, I don't know. And I don't know what she's really gonna do. That's why I wonder what the future is for Xbox.
Yeah, I mean that Xbox is in a weird spot, uh, because to be honest, they have better products than PlayStation. I mean, for us, they acquired Call of Duty. They have they have all the Call of Duty games, the rights to all of Call of Duty, and um, they could put them on their Game Passes if they want. Like, I think that product is really cool. You pay, I don't know how much it is, but you pay X amount, and then you get all these games, like very good games. PlayStation has sort of tried to do the same thing with the different tiers, like PlayStation Essential, Extra, and then I don't even know what the last one is. I think it's
I
extra and
for
then something else. I forget what it. I don't pay for it. Clearly, I only pay for the not extra, the essential,
Mhm.
because I don't really go and try out and play a bunch of games, right? I stick to the games that I like, and to be honest, PlayStation doesn't have a good selection of games that are worth playing. Like all the free games and extra, to me, you probably get maybe 3 to 5 that are actually good. Um, while Xbox, they have like a bunch of games, dude. Like people got Black Ops 7 like off of it. Or they got like just AAA games in general. And PlayStation does not have that at all.
But the only problem that I'd say with the Game Pass right now, and it happened recently, is they raised the price of it and they didn't add anything to the service,
Mhm.
which was
Well,
a
yeah,
huge dagger to the
PlayStation
whole
did the
Game
same
Pass.
thing.
Yeah, but and I would say at least with like Xbox right now too, this is part of it is it's got to be like the recency bias with where Xbox has been, where they've continuously canceled games and
Mhm.
given less stuff to people. Or if they're going to have things that are more accessible, like you want to have more games, oh yeah, we're gonna go and now make that more expensive for you to have that. Which
Mhm.
in reality, again, they didn't change anything about what they did. They just want more money and
Yeah.
I think that at least from them, that's where as a consumer, a lot of people are outraged about it because it's gaming is just getting more and more expensive. And when you have some product like you have of Xbox or you have PlayStation, you wanna make sure that these people are actually making it worthwhile to you, you know,
Mhm,
like, for your initial purchase. And again, I have not owned an Xbox in my life, and from what I've seen from people, it is just continuous disappointment, you know? And
mhm.
to your point though, PlayStation, like, yeah, when it comes to free games and stuff like that, it's okay, you know? It's like, sometimes they're kinda hit or miss, but there are a ton of games that on PlayStation you just can't get on Xbox, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
and,
you think
like,
about Uncharted, Last of
mhm,
Us, Spider-Man, like, there's
mhm,
huge games, you just
mhm.
can't play them.
Yeah. Well, I think they can they not? I think they can play Spider-Man now. Like, I know, like, a lot of exclusives, though, are they're not really exclusives anymore, but because they're on PC. But,
Right.
um, yeah, I wanna make it a point that it's not just Xbox like, everything's increasing in price. It's not just
Mhm.
Xbox, and PlayStation increased their prices and didn't add anything either. And I think Xbox has a better product. I'm team PlayStation. That's even a thing anymore. Like, I had the OG Xbox. That was it. And then I switched over to the PS3. But um Xbox, I think they have a better product with Game Pass than PlayStation's tiers. Because the PlayStation tiers, like, yeah, you have the option of, three different price points. But upgrading to the top one, in my opinion, isn't even worth it. Because you don't get the best games like Xbox does. Like, if PlayStation had Xbox's Game Pass and they did it for them, I would pay for that because you would get a bunch of great games. Um, but yeah, I just want to make it known that PlayStation they do a bunch of stuff like that too. They'll raise the prices and not add anything. Free games, like you said, whatever. Like, I think actually it's March now, so I don't know what the new games are, but
You have to go check.
in February, it was Subnautica and some other game. And you and I are big Subnautica fans. That's a great game and it's a free game. But you got to look at it where that game's been out for years now and it's finally free. Where on Xbox, you can just go and like download that
Right.
if you had Game Pass.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, because for sure, I mean, Xbox obviously, like in Microsoft, they came up with that whole idea of Game Pass, and really had it perfected. You know, PlayStation hopped on, or Sony did, you know, in the PS5 with the whole tiers and everything. And yeah, I agree. I have the highest tier, and I think the only thing that you get from it is you get the classics catalog for free,
Mhm.
um,
And
which
see
is nice
that's
because
good. That's good for you because you like that.
yeah,
But I think for like people like me and other people that don't really care, I guess, for those classic games, it's not worth it for us to
no,
pay that, obviously. Whereas, man, I if like Red Dead 2, I I haven't played that game, right? But if I had Game Pass, I would have more incentive to go play that because it's free.
right,
I can just go
right.
download any of those games or Assassin's Creed Mirage. I don't need to buy it. I got it for free.
Mhm.
Which,
Yeah,
like, that's crazy to me that games like that, as soon as they come out, you can just get.
right, right. As long as you have that membership. And this
Yeah.
is where I would, if people are in this situation who play and have those tiers, that's where I wonder as to what it is. Because the ultimate version that you can have of it for the Game Pass is $30 a month, which is a
Mhm,
fuck ton.
mhm,
Um, and then again, but it's all depending on, like, with all these things, of course. You know, if you have the Game Pass, it's totally worth it to you if you game enough to play those games. You know, but when it starts adding up to the price of, like, say you're paying $360 a year for, for Game Pass. I mean, and now that's 4 games a year that you're buying.
mhm,
Who does that? Like, I don't know. I don't buy 4 games a year. I maybe buy 2, and COD
mhm.
is one of those, you know? Like, that's
That's
that's a lot of
partially though, that's partially because there aren't a lot of good games coming out right away, and the
well,
time too.
That's what I was just gonna even
Yeah.
say too with it, At least with PlayStation over the years since the PS5, we've had a good amount of games that have come out, even just, in the past like 10, 12 years.
Mhm.
Shit, like, recent decades of PlayStation, there's been really good console exclusives that have come out and again changed like the landscape of gaming. I mean, of course, like Last of Us, like that whole series. If you're on Xbox, you can't play that. You know, same thing with the Spider-Man games. The only reason I know is because my buddy bitches to me all the time because he wants to play him, but he's on
Mhm.
Xbox. You know, that's the only
Well,
reason. Other
get a
games, I
PC.
don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right?
Okay.
Like, this guy, this guy could
Then you can
barely
play
afford
everything.
his Xbox though. Like the PC would be insane for him. But point being is there was a lot of games that would draw you to these consoles, and Xbox had their time too. I mean, it was insane. They had like a legendary run of games, but now that well is dried up,
Mhm.
and you know, there's really no reason for you to still go over there if you're looking for like console exclusives. Um, like yeah, they do have again some like games that you could just go at. So some they have a whole catalog of games that if you're into the classics and you want to go and maybe have a discount on games, you can go and get the Game Pass for it. Um, but we're also talking about like you're saying Red Dead 2, like, bro, that game's mad old now, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, like, yeah, legendary game for sure. Everyone
Mhm.
needs to play it in their life. But we're talking about old games here, you know?
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just
But
there's not like to your point, man, there's just in recent years,
yeah.
like, you know, there's people who be losing their minds over saying, like, I don't know, just as me, like mega casual, I don't see a ton of games that come around year to year where I'm like, holy shit, like I have to play that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that's fair. Like, there are pros and cons to both PlayStation and Xbox, like, how they structure their, like, passes, essentially, but you can get Black Ops 7. A new game that drops, you can just get it, and, again, if you're a gamer, that's great because you can try out multiple games, whereas PlayStation, you get discounts on games and whatnot, but if you're like you and I, who are very picky about the games that we play, because we have to go and spend our money for it, then it might not be as worth it, you know? But I personally think it's worth it if when November comes around, when all these games drop and you're like, "Oh, I want this game, I want this game, this game." That's when yeah, it's obviously worth it. But thing is you have to find the time for that to play those
Right.
games too. Or I know plenty of people who just buy games because they wanna try it and it's brand new, and they play it for, I don't know, a week or 2, and then they realize they don't actually like it. So now in my head, I'm like, "Dude, you just wasted $70. Why didn't you just wait until it was on sale?" But they didn't want to because they wanted to enjoy the hype of the game when it came out,
Mhm.
which I think a lot of people do that. I think you and I are in the minority of gamers that don't buy games that are, like, hyped up right away. There are very, very few games that you and I have bought at launch, excluding COD, and it's very,
GTA
very
5.
minimal. Yeah, I bought GTA 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, because I literally got the PlayStation 5 and it came out that week, and I think Last of Us 2. Maybe I'm forgetting, like, I can count on my hand, a single hand, how many games I've gotten at launch outside of
Yeah.
COD.
Yeah, and that's like they don't these developers and these like team, they don't like that.
Oh,
They'd
yeah, they
rather
hate us,
that
they hate us. They're
right.
like, "Man."
And and I'll even say too, like this is how pissed I was at myself because Arc Raiders, when I went and bought that, bro, I don't play that game at all. And I'm
Mhm,
so pissed at myself because I'm just
mhm,
like, dude, why did I
yeah,
buy that game? And then I look at my credit card statement. I'm like, dude,
yeah.
I could have. I'm like, that could have been $40 to that. Like,
Yeah.
it's so stupid. You know what I
Like,
mean?
it how
I
much was the game? Was it
I think it was
40 or
40,
50?
40 or 50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but to your point, like, I completely understand that, but that's how you think. I don't think many people think like that, where they're thinking, "Oh, I just lost out 40, $50." But Arc Raiders, that's a great price point
Mhm.
for them because kinda crazy, again, to you and I, but there are people out there that will buy the game. They barely play it, and they say, "At least it wasn't $70, like a full game."
Right.
This was 40, $50. It was priced at a good price for the game overall, so I didn't lose too much.
Yeah.
Whereas
Which
if you waited, I don't know, like another year or around the holidays, that game could be $30, where I think that's my breaking point, $30. If I bought a game for 30 bucks and I didn't actually enjoy it, I could I could justify that and suck it up.
Mhm.
Like, whatever, But when you're pushing above, yeah, 50 bucks, that's when I really need to research this game.
Yeah.
And am I gonna have the time to play this?
Yeah, and that's where that game upset me because again, just as time goes on, like we get less and less time to play, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to play on my PS5, I'm gonna be playing like I bought Formula One recently because it was on a crazy sale.
Mhm,
And I'll play COD. It's like those are the games that I know I'm always gonna be playing all year round and I'll put time into and they'll pay for themselves. The F1 game, not as much, but mainly just Call of Duty. Like I know I'm gonna play that or again, if it's some legacy game that I like, again, I know in GTA 6, we're gonna put
mhm,
crazy hours into that game. So you don't have to worry about it. Um, I do think still like those people, the Arc Raiders, I still think that. I'm like, yeah, it's not thank God it's not 70 for sure. Thank
yeah,
God. But I'm still just again, I'm like, yeah, it could be worse, but damn, dude, like what a waste. Like, cause that could
mhm,
have now I could have bought that could have been 40 for the F1 game. And I actually
yeah.
like that game, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now I
well,
just
yeah,
have this
exactly.
game that's staring at me on my PlayStation. It's just like bad decision, bro. This is a
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
call. Like, I know,
mhm,
dude. But
mhm,
that's where these any of these memberships that you have again like we play so thankfully these pay off but that's where any of these whether it's on Xbox side or Sony side for PlayStation, they take advantage of those people who mindlessly pay that month after month, or they see like the new popular game that's out and they buy it and they barely play. They just
mhm,
want to keep that going over and over again. And that's where the concern for me is going back to the whole AI thing is because if they continue to maybe have this like and I'm going to assume that they're going to try to make that a focal point of their gaming development cycle, not have it be the main thing that like it creates everything, but really push the limits of its implementation and like assisting actual developers and making a game. Um, I think some of the people that buy these games, I know I would. If I saw a game that was made like 60% AI, I might be like, I ain't paying 70 bucks for that. Like, I'm
mhm,
sorry. You know what I mean? And people might start thinking that, is it really worth that price tag that you're charging
mhm.
now when
Well,
it's not the same as it used to be?
yeah. You and I you and I already think that when AI is not being used in a lot of these games, you
Yeah.
know? And and I mean, people are saying, "Oh, yeah, COD," we'll relate it back to COD. Everyone's like, "COD's AI slop." All these, um, calling cards and, you know, uh, prestige icons. Bro, realistically, I don't give a fuck, like, if AI is used for that. If it looks cool, it's fine. The problem I have is when AI is being used and it's creating a whole goddamn cutscene and it doesn't look good at all, and it doesn't correlate to the story that they're trying to portray and tell. That's when
Yeah.
it becomes a major problem. And I get people say, "Oh, yeah, AI slop, it's a joke, whatever," but, uh, I don't I think you and I analyze games and we look at them. All right, this right now, games, even if they're not using AI, they're not worth $70 to us at all. I think I mean, you and I talk about co-op games all the time, and we really push the limits with some of these co-op games. We're waiting for them to drop the price because they're not worth the 70 bucks. It's
No.
not worth it. And when you work that hard for your money, why would you just throw it away? You know? And if there is a tag that says, "Oh, this game was 60% made with AI," or whatever, and they're charging $70, you and I are already skeptical enough about games that aren't using AI. Now, this game is worth $10 at most. That's what we're thinking. Um,
Right.
and we do our research. But again, I know a lot of people that they get hyped up about a game off the trailer. They'll already pre-order it or buy it day of, and I cannot justify that, especially if I don't know if I'm going to like the game or not. It's just not worth it to me. And yeah, I say that as I buy COD every year, but the thing is, I play COD every year. You know,
Mhm.
the one time I got completely burned, oh, it was World War II. That's also part of the reason why, like, that game is trash, but I pre-ordered that game back when games were $60 brand new. And I went and I didn't get the download. I had to go buy the actual disc for it. It was shit. I played it
Right.
till like third prestige, and then I had no one to play it with. It was awful because no one played
Right.
it. So that was a big burning point for me. I remember that. I remember specifically getting that, and it was just awful. I'm like, this was not a $60 game.
Yeah. I mean, man, we all have as gamers, we all have those stories of like getting burned on a game that you bought and you just thought it was going to be godlike and you were gonna, play it for hours and hours and it just totally shit the bed, and
Mhm,
you hated it. Like I've got more than a couple over the years that are in that realm, but that's kind of too that experience has made you and me very skeptical about buying games in general. And even still, like when I see games that I really like, I'm always gonna wait on those games for a sale because they're always gonna go on sale. And I don't know what that says about games,
mhm,
where most games that come out, I'd say about 95% of the games that come out are not worth $70 remotely. There's very few that would hold that. And most people would say, yeah. And of course, with our news, we talked a long time ago about it. And I don't think nothing's happened from it with GTA 6 being $100. That's worth $100. Like
mhm,
Rockstar has proven time and time again that they are the legit gods of gaming and handling that whole like world of gaming. And everyone knows that they're going to clutch up. It's not
mhm,
even a question.
mhm.
But for everybody else to be considering that their game is actually valued at that price, I'm like, bro, give it 2 months. Give it 6 months. Assassin's Creed, give it 2 hours, and that game's
No,
already on sale for 40
lit
bucks. It's like,
literally,
dude, you
these
literally chopped
game
this game price in half. And you see,
mhm.
they're like, yeah, what is it? I remember you telling me about it. It was Odyssey, Valhalla, and Origins, and it's like 20 bucks. Like, how the fuck is that
Oh,
legal?
that's a
like,
steal, man.
like
That's
that,
a
yeah,
yeah,
that's
you want a deal?
crazy.
You get 3 like, good games, very
Yeah,
good games for $20 and hours of content. And this is the other thing, you and I have talked about it. Some of you might not be old enough yet, but the older you get, you do have less time to play because you just gotta take care of life admin stuff that
yeah,
you don't wanna do, but you have to. Trust me, I have games I wanna sit down and play, and I'd much rather be playing than doing all the other stuff that I have to do in life, but it's not reality. And I we have to be very picky about the games that we buy, but also we have to be realistic about, all right, if I buy this game and it's a player games, we buy a single player game, how long is it actually going to take us to beat this whole thing to the point that we're satisfied? You know, because you and I, this is our problem, which I recognize. Other people play single player games and they beat them. You and I play single player games. We're like, no, we want to complete them. Assassin's Creed, for example, I cannot leave a single item on the map. Everything needs to be unlocked. Everything needs to be discovered. It all needs to be 100%. And that's
mhm.
going to days, maybe even months
Oh,
and
yeah.
of just gameplay. And yeah, that's just a me thing. I know plenty of people who don't do that at all, but I need to be realistic how many hours I can put into this game. And at that point, I know another game's coming out. So I'm like, oh, okay. It's gonna be on sale at some point because I can't get the game at launch. And the other thing is most games get launched around October, November timeframe. Black Friday's right there. It's literally a couple weeks away. Game's gonna go from $70 to 55, something like that, right? The newest game, or even $60, whatever. And you'll get it at a deal. But to your point, there are very few developers where I'm gonna pre-order the game because I know it's gonna be a good game because they're reputable. Like Rockstar, obviously, that game's gonna be pre-ordered. GTA 6, 100% gonna be
Mhm.
pre-ordered. Naughty Dog, they're working on another brand new series.
Yeah,
That game,
Intergalactic, I think.
that's gonna be pre-ordered, 100%. And
Yeah.
because these developers have done the time, they've done the work. Uncharted is one of my favorite game series ever. The one thing I like about Naughty Dog is they take the time, they really develop their storytelling, and they do a great job with it. But they're so good with their storytelling that they end the game and rip it from fans, which I hate. But they know when to end a series,
Mhm.
and they're not. They could push Uncharted for a while if they really wanted to. It's a classic treasure hunter game. They could definitely have Drake go on more treasure hunts and stuff like that, but they didn't because they knew it was time for that. And I
And
appreciate the developers that do that.
yeah, and to that too, they know that people would buy it, like, we would buy it.
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
wouldn't even think about it. It would be just another Uncharted game where we're like, "Oh, yeah, this is so good," and it's Naughty Dog, like, the quality is always gonna be there, but again, that's where for them, they also, one, like, respect the art of making the game and the story, and also, 2, they know that, like, Call of Duty is going through this right now, that there can definitely be, fatigue within a series that you have, you know? There's 4 Uncharteds, and people maybe think that's a lot, but it's the perfect amount. If
Mhm.
we were over here talking about, "Dude, Uncharted 8's coming out, Uncharted 9," you'd be like, "Okay, man, like, how many more of these movies and, like, of this game, because it's the same kinda thing, how many more of these are you gonna put out?" You know?
Mhm.
The first couple were good, but now you're just milking this thing dry. Um, and again, that's why those games are so good, and those are the games too that we're talking about where, to your point about time, which is definitely a thing, those are the games that becomes irrelevant because you just know that it's going to be such an amazing experience, you have to go into it,
Mhm.
and you can't miss it. Where when it's something like Valhalla, that's such a grave undertaking because that game's so huge
Mhm.
already, you know? And again, knowing you, yeah, there's no way. Like you and I could never just it's so hard to play those games just going through the story, barely doing any
Yeah.
side quests, doing any
Mhm.
of that stuff. If I'm
Well,
gonna be
and
in that world, I'm gonna be in that world like
you're gonna be
permanently.
immersed. Yeah, yeah. And I that's where these gamer reviews look, I haven't beaten Valhalla yet to that point. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how it ends, but this story, not as good as Origins, not as good as Odyssey. I can 100% tell you that from where I've been worked up to. But I enjoy Valhalla as a game and experience because I've done everything else. I think if you a game like that, it differs from game to game, but if you just sit there and play the story straight, you don't have a good perspective of the entire game.
right.
And I don't think it's fair to judge a game based off of, just that story because it's not totally a story-driven game. Um, and on top of that, the I just completely lost my train of thought with these games. What the hell? There was something
You're
about
good.
Uncharted. Those games, to your point, they could just keep releasing games, but Call of Duty, even Ubisoft, when they were releasing CODs every single year, Ubisoft releasing Assassin's Creed every single year, there's fatigue. Naughty Dog, they released the original Uncharted in '07, and then following after that, they didn't release them every year. I think Uncharted 2 came out in
No.
'09, 3 came out in When did 3 come out? Let me look.
Yeah, I get what
2011.
yeah.
Uncharted 4 came out in 2016.
Yeah, 5
Th
years.
They took the time to develop these games and give them the amount of work that they truly needed. Because I remember when Uncharted 4 got announced and we were hyped, and it was supposed to come out, around, I believe, November of 2015, and then it got delayed to January of 26, and then they delayed it again to May, and I'm like, "This sucks," but that means they really care about this game. There's It's not ready yet to be released,
Yeah.
and nothing's worse than buying a game for full price, loading into it, and then there are bugs immediately, like something's wrong with it. And that happens to a lot of these games now because developers are pressured to release a game on time. Like, this is a date, it needs to be released on this date.
And the whole implementation, too, of live service, the
Mhm,
fact that you don't have to technically finish these games, you could just kind of finish it and update it as the game's out, which is a
mhm,
whole other problem. And I would say with those games too, part of the problem that Assassin's Creed felt, and certainly Call of Duty, which we'll talk about in a minute here with the CDL stuff, which is thankfully like actually interesting and changing day to day and week to week. These games become the same like year after year, and you
mhm.
really start to wonder, like a lot of people have with Call of Duty, what's really the difference from 2 years ago to now? Not really that much. And it's still $70. Why am I actually paying this when this is basically like MW3 was a DLC that I'm
Mhm.
paying for? And Assassin's Creed fell into the same boat where year after year, I mean, in those games, like, we love Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla. Those games there's not a ton of variety in them when it really comes down to it. And you could even say that about the Assassin's Creeds earlier.
Mhm.
But if you're going to be buying a game, and especially like for a series and supporting, you want to see that every year or every game that they put out within that cycle, within that genre there, it is improving. Okay,
Mhm.
there's a huge difference between Uncharted 1 to 2 and from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4, like, it's
Mhm.
massive. And even some like Red Dead 1 to 2, like, obviously with that time, graphics, of course, but putting all that aside, like, what you actually do in the game, what the gameplay and actual experience is so much better. And that's
Yeah.
where a lot of these teams, they fall into these problems where they put these games out and they've got you, like you're hooked and you feel excited about it, and then they take advantage of it. And they're like, "Well, you liked the last game, you're gonna like this one because it's
Mhm.
basically the same shit." And you're
Mhm.
like, "Dude, I could just go play that game." Like,
Mhm. Well,
give
yeah.
me a reason to buy the new game. Like, what are
Mhm.
you fixing and improving upon on the last game that's gonna make this worthwhile to me, you know?
Yeah, because I think these the developers that take breaks, a year, 2-year breaks, it's good for them, not good for their bottom line, obviously, because if your first game banged and people loved it, obviously you wanna release another game next year. That'll, generate more revenue for you. But I think those developers that wait, there are definitely benefits for it where I think people with Assassin's Creed, for example, right? You can't tell me if you look at Brotherhood, Revelations, um, I would even like AC3, like Black Flag. They're different. There's definitely different settings, different things you're doing, different mechanics, but they're all the same. At the core of it, like they are the same. And having that back to back to back to back years over and over can be rough for the consumer like us. Whereas if you look at the Uncharted, yes, there are differences between the 4 Uncharted, but I think taking that year gap or 2-year gap, people kind of forget about it. Not lose interest of it, but they're not thinking about it anymore,
It's not
right?
fresh.
Yeah. And then when they come back 2 years later saying, "Here's Uncharted 2." Different story, same mechanics, a bit better. People are like, "Oh, this game's great again." And I think Naughty Dog's done a good job of, again, they've only done 4 Uncharted's and then the Lost Legacy, so 5 games in total, and they've taken breaks between all of them, where people look at that series and they say, "This is a great game, great franchise. You look at Assassin's Creed, well, what would you say the first, the biggest Assassin's Creed that kicked off that series? Probably AC2, right? I mean, I think that's when most people came in, or like the Brotherhood time frame with
Mhm.
Ezio. Everyone fell in love with Ezio, and they noticed that. And then you had a couple good years of it, and then you change it. Like you kill off one of the best characters in the game, and you think you can keep pushing it out every single year. And now you've strung it along for so long, a franchise that's fantastic, to now people look at Assassin's Creed and just laugh at it. Where back in the day, it wasn't like that at all. So I wonder
No.
if they took a 2-year gap, a year, 2-year gap every time for the hype to die down and have consumers just forget about the game a bit, so then they can dog on other games, and then they come back and say, "Oh, look at this game. It's another Assassin's Creed, but it's, it's sort of the same, but it's a different version of it." Where COD, I know you and I talk about, um, what's unique about COD is it comes out every year, and it is slightly different, but at the end of the day, COD is COD. But if you took a break between MW3 to Black Ops 7, these games are very, very different. Like,
Yeah.
graphically, how they play mechanically, maps, everything. But the
Yeah.
fact that every single year we just have another COD, I think we're all biased to an extent comparing, you know, this COD to this COD. Even though, when did MW3 come out? 23, right?
Yeah, I think so. I
Yeah.
think. 23
Yeah, I
or
think I think it
24.
was 23. I think it was 23.
I think so, it might be right, yeah. I forget.
Bro, that's almost 3 years ago. I mean, like, imagine if they took a break the whole time. Like, it's very different, but the fact that it was 2023 going from all these games in between, it kinda looks and feels the same, you know?
Yeah, and there's definitely an element too, I feel, with these developers, where, man, you just need time to think and be creative, and,
Mhm,
when you're under the pressure of a deadline and you have to
mhm,
come up with something quickly, that's when you start going to kind of bullshit things or rehashing a lot of the stuff that was used from the previous game because, "Oh, it was
mhm.
successful, so let's go and do it again." Um, and
And that's
it's
when live
hard to
service for them, they justify that more. Where I
Yeah,
personally think live service, it's a great thing, but you have to go into the game to develop the best game possible, and then if, you know, something happens, like, oh, something was missed, that's when you go and, like, patch it, or you
right.
push new DLC, something like that. That's being used correctly. But to your point, with the deadline, you're stressed out about this deadline. Maybe the story isn't exactly what you think it should be, but let's just push it anyways because we can update this later on.
Right, right. It's like this part isn't as bad, like it'll be okay, whatever. And then that's where you get complacent. And then as the consumer, you pay $70 and you're like, "What? This is what you're going to give us? Are you kidding me?" And
Mhm,
that's where these teams have run into huge problems because they're putting out games that, again, they maybe use certain things that may be beneficial like a live service thing, but they use it as a crutch and in place of actual work and ideas that should be generated. Like you look at these games that came out, like I play my PS2 and I play PS3. I literally beat Assassin's Creed 2 like 2 days ago. Man, that game for the time is pretty amazing, and a lot of those games are because that's just what they were out of the box. Like, PS3,
mhm,
yeah, they could go and update it, with patches and stuff, but pretty minimal. Um, so to think what people creatively came up with within that time and, were confident in their ability and executed is amazing. And to think now where it's ended up going, because that well is just run dry and also, too, again, with something like live service, they use it way too much as a crutch than just as a tool that could maybe help them make better games. And
mhm,
that's where I would like going back full circle here, closing it on. That's where I worry about AI because I think, again, like you, I agree live service is a great thing if it's used properly. AI is the same thing. AI in gaming is a great thing if it's used properly. but I do worry when I see where the next direction of like Xbox could be going, that they push all the chips in on AI. Like that's
Mhm.
their main thing. And they're gonna pump out games like crazy. It's like, dude, we got 20 new titles coming to Xbox this year. You never it's like, bro, I'd rather you give me 2 or give me 1 that we're like, "Man, we've had our whole team working on this for years. This is legit. This is, like, gonna be the next game." And if it fails, it fails. But when I see 20 games, you see a high number, like quality over quantity, that's where I'd get a little concerned, and I definitely don't want that, and I don't think a lot of other people want that,
Mhm.
especially if all those games say $70, $70, $70. We want pre-order it, we're gonna give you that.
Mhm.
Bro, miss me with that bullshit.
Oh, yeah. And I'll leave it at this, and then we can transition to CDL. But the people that have to step up are the heads of these developers, and I hope that if you're a head of a developer at this point, you understand the game, you are a gamer, and you're doing something for the gamers. Obviously, you gotta make a living, all that stuff, but outside of that, I really hope these developers put their foot down when, Microsoft has a deadline and they really want to stay true to a game. They need to make that a point that, you know, this deadline isn't feasible. Or if you want this deadline, fine, we'll work overtime and like push it, but we need more resources to get it to the point where we think it's worth this much and
Right.
ready at the launch. So let us know down below what you think about AI, and also too if you guys play other games outside of COD, because I know every single episode people they just think you and I play COD all the time, COD
Mhm.
Casuals, obviously. But if you guys would want another episode just about the COD Casuals that don't play COD and play literally a bunch of other games, let us know in the Discord or even in the comments. But with that,
Yeah.
we can transition to the CDL
I was
CDL
gonna
portion.
say, because again, like there's a whole bunch of other games out there, but man, Call of Duty, at least the CDL, the excitement, it does not fucking disappoint because
Mhm.
there's always something going on or something that's happening, and we'll make it relatively brief here with some of the big things that have happened. Even just from the last matches that we saw over the weekend. But the main thing that we were gonna talk about, which did come up, Breach, they did, Justin, make a fucking move here. They went and they brought in Sprat, or Spart, sorry, from yeah, not Sprat. They're not gonna bring in a fucking sniper. they, brought, they brought him in
Retired.
from yeah, right there. He's back. It's like, oh, we're actually cooked. No, they brought in Spart from was it Telluride? He was on the Bush Gaming team.
Mhm.
In place of Cammy, who is now on that team in Challengers, I believe. So just pretty much a direct swap. Um, from what I had heard and seen of Spart when he was in Challengers, he was absolutely running it. Um, and we definitely got to see that with him. The guy was insane in both series. The first series, everyone was saying free Spart because they lost, and you and I were really questioning a lot of things because they lost to Carolina, who's been on a major
Mhm.
slump online. But they got into a game 5. I was like, I remember I tweeted it out and I was thinking about it because people were saying the exact opposite. They're like, they need to still make a change. They're dog shit. I'm like, hey, we're moving in the right direction. Like, we lost, but we didn't get 3-0 slammed. Like, it
And
was,
he
and he
Boston
fried.
lost, he fried. Like,
He,
I don't know what his KD was at the end of the series, but it was nuts. Like, he pretty
it
much
was like
maxed out every
1.2, 1.3,
Yeah,
somewhere
dude.
around there.
He
It was nuts.
he was doing everything.
Yeah.
And I chalked it up to, well, one, it is 100% the rest of the team. Like, if you're frying that much and you're losing,
Yeah.
rest of the team is costing you. But
They all got shit on.
also, uh honeymoon, like it didn't go their way. They're still a new team. Yeah, they played Carolina, who's just been playing bad, but
Right.
it's a first match. It's all right. But yeah, everybody was putting them down first series against Carolina.
Yeah, and again, like usually in those, they always joke about it. It's like if Purge is doing well, then like Snoopy's getting shit on, or vice versa, or something
Mhm,
like that. And in that match, everybody was pretty
mhm,
much getting smoked. And I
mhm.
think Yeah, Snoopy, was definitely on the struggle, with
To that
Purge on
point,
it,
though, it's
so
true. The
it
subs
does,
are
yeah,
not consistent.
yeah.
It's either Snoopy fries and Purge sucks, or Purge fries and Snoopy sucks.
Yeah, and this is still the problem with Boston. You know, saying something nicer and more positive, they did beat, FaZe, which
Huge.
yeah,
Huge.
I mean, this was like, I mean, I'm gonna be real, I didn't think they were gonna win this. I don't
Mhm.
think anybody really thought that they were gonna be able to win this because Boston is legit right now. I think they are the last team, or they were the last team prior to this in the standings, and FaZe
They're 10th.
okay, 10th, yeah.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
were, like, way down in the bottom here, like, chance we may not make it to Birmingham, and then FaZe is FaZe, like,
Mhm.
those guys just they can always pull through, and that first hard point, Justin, I mean, you've seen that meme of the guy ripping the headset off, that was me. I was like,
Yeah.
"Bro, are you"
Dude,
like,
I
"We're
I
getting Kentucky cooked."
yeah, it was bad. They lost by I don't even know, it was well over 100. They got
Oh, yeah.
cooked,
Yeah, it was bad.
and I texted you, I'm like, "Man, this is not good. They still need to make a roster change." Part of me, though, when I
Discord
was
depression.
I'm watching that, I'm like, "Okay," because going into it, before the games even started, you and I were saying that they could take it. Like, there is a chance because FaZe, to be honest, I mean, they lost to Boston. They don't look that great in general, right? And it's not even just against Boston either. They've lost to other teams, like mid-pack teams.
Well,
And
they lost to Falcons too, not to cut you off. They lost to
yeah,
Falcons prior to that, which was definitely, like, not as big of an
mid
upset, but still, like, FaZe should win that.
yeah, FaZe, everyone's saying they're a top 4 team. They're not
Yeah.
playing like a top 4 team right now. And um, them playing Boston, you and I both thought, they have a chance. If again, if I believe that if Boston had a chance, they're winning in game 5. They're not gonna go and just sweep these guys. Well, they got swept in the first map, and we were completely wrong, and they swept FaZe in 3-1. So,
Yeah.
and
Which
it was great because we got to see Snoopy dude, he got his confidence. He won a 1v1 against Draza. I was
mhm,
worried about that. That could be literally the changing moment for him. We don't know yet. We could be way too early on it, but
right.
it could be Simp where he 1v4'd or 1v3'd Miami on Vault, and then phased it was completely different after that.
Mhm.
That could be the winning moment for Snoopy to be like, I'm good. I'm a good
Yeah.
player." Because everyone's after this guy's head, and I'm like, yeah, dude, he made some dumb plays. I will acknowledge that. But this guy is a shooter. He's good. He's a good
Right.
player.
And again, it's to that point of momentum. That's what I know you and I are both hoping is that this is the turning point for them. Now, I think in my like honest opinion, I do think that team is more than likely going to need to make another change. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope that this is again a step for them where they get massive confidence beating a team like FaZe. And like, honestly outplaying them in the other matches that they'd had. Like, FaZe definitely threw in the last hard point that they played. But, again, that's the name of the game. Like, these you have to capitalize on the other team's mistakes, and I'll even say too, that was, like, the whole story this weekend was just teams that you think minus Optic teams that you think are going to win just making dumb mistakes and like you said to FaZe, like being a top 4 team, not playing as a top 4 team. Bro, I have no idea what to expect with these matches anymore, and
Yeah.
especially after this weekend because it makes no sense. And I honestly love that because I mean, it's just entertaining. You don't really know what's going to happen, but it's a lot of teams right now that are
A
just
lot.
that yeah, like, people just are trying to figure out their footing and, like, really get a good placehold on, like, where they are. Like, I really don't know. I only know that Optic, from what they've shown so far, is far and away the best teteam. They're the most
Yeah. They're
consistent.
they're
Everybody
undefeated.
that they play yeah, they slam everybody that they
Mhm.
play. And then, again, if you missed it, like, dude, Gentlemates out here losing to Cloud9. I'm like, "Are
Yeah.
we
Oh,
serious?" Like,
they had
this
back-to-back losses. They
yeah.
lost to Cloud9, and then what, they played, was it Falcons that they played?
Let me go check. They
Or
played
it was,
Miami. Oh, no,
Miami,
sorry,
yeah,
not Miami. No, no, no,
McCoy?
my bad. Well, Cloud9 played Miami. Let me go see if I can find it really quick. They played Koi, yeah, and they lost 3-0 to them.
Yeah. The back-to-back
Fucking Kip,
and
dude.
Koi's a better team than C9, but Koi's been struggling too, and
Yeah.
teams are I mean, again, this is good. That just shows that teams are catching up to the top teams, the solidified, I guess, top teams, but yeah, and it as Aches probably would say, it's giving a lot of teams false confidence here. Like,
Mhm.
he's probably looking at Boston thinking, "Oh, yeah, these guys beat FaZe. Now they're not gonna make a roster change," which you could be true, but you look at the other side, this could be the confidence boost, like you said, that changes them completely, where I don't think you can argue that if Purge and Snoopy are both shooting and frying together on the map, Sparta and Nasty together, they're gonna be consistent the majority of the time. They'll be
Right.
good. That team will play well. And if you watch any flanks or even Scum's Watch Party, any of these guys, they've always said that Boston should not be as bad as they are right now. This game is built for them. Something's just not clicking. And this win against FaZe could be their turning point. And even for like all the other teams, like you said, C9, the most of them are the Stallions. They came out and they beat Gentlemates, Major One champs. You can't huge confidence boost for those guys. And I know probably on Gentlemates, they're saying, you know what happened? It was all right. They're
Right,
trying
whatever.
stuff, whatever. But you can't discredit C9 going in and doing that against literally the number one team.
Yeah.
And, you know, that just shows that C9 can win and any of these teams can win. Um, yeah, dude, we lost a Surge and then we're
Right. I
beating
mean,
FaZe.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
and then to that too with C9, they beat them and then they lose to Miami 3-0,
Yeah.
like slammed.
Yeah.
And you just have no idea where any of these teams really stack up, you
Mhm.
know? And that I do enjoy watching that because it just makes it entertaining. But I will say going back to Boston because yeah, it was great to see this happen and definitely for us because there's a good chance that, I mean, we're going to be fighting to make it to major 2.
Mhm.
No doubt. And I think regarding the roster change for them, it's really gonna come down to if they qualify. If they don't qualify for it, then I think they absolutely need to make a change. That's like a clear red flag,
Mhm.
alarm bell signaling that, like, yeah, if you are not qualifying for this, you need to make a change because there's no way you should be in that situation.
Mhm.
I do think for sure Spart was the right move. Like, definitely getting him was smart. Um, and to what we've said earlier about you have to kind of play with the cards that you're dealt and like what you can get. He is one of those guys that's definitely a good person to get. And I just saw
Mhm.
with I want to say it's Surge with Capsule getting picked up by Surge. That was a new thing that got announced because I think it's Abe that's going to be
Mhm.
subbed out. He's going to be going down to challengers. Um again, great guy to get when you don't have a lot of money to throw around.
Mhm.
And from what we're seeing right now, there's a lot of teams in the bottom that are really starting to make some of these moves because look at Toronto, dude. Like the fact that they went drop Real and pick up Kips and now like they look fucking great. Like
Mhm.
that looks like the team that like we would have expected Toronto to be. And now
With
they're
a
all
big
like
name
smiling.
player,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
again, that just that's what COD is. Real was a top sub in BO6.
Hmm.
Dude, he's on the bench now.
Yeah.
Hard reality. Huge reality check right there where he was frying on Miami and it just didn't click with Toronto. And
Yeah.
yeah, these teams going like Capsule, great pickup by those guys. Great pickup because he is
I'm a
frying on
Bostonian.
yeah, fellow Bostonian, and he's frying on this game, dude. He's so
Yeah.
good, and
Hmm.
I think to your point about not making well, this whole format I think is just stupid. Major two,
Yeah. Right. Right.
it,
Right.
it,
Right.
it not making it fine, but then on top of that, you have to qualify in to get into the bracket, which well, that's 10 teams, and you go there. Imagine you lose, you don't even make it into bracket play, and then, dude, you flew all the way over there for what?
Yeah.
Is that worse than not qualifying? Imagine flying out there, first round, and you're just out.
Save the team some money on the flights and the
Yeah,
hotels,
and,
you know?
uh, with Boston, I just think that if those 2 guys, Purge and Snoopy, get it together, it'll work, and right now, they're tied with a lot of teams. There's a good chance that FaZe doesn't make it. They are tied with Boston right now. They are 2 and
Let
4,
me, yeah, let me check right now with
and
it.
FaZe
Yep.
is ninth, I believe, and their schedule is insane. They play Optic at some point, and they play Gentlemates at some point too, the rest of their games.
Yeah, just I'm looking at it right now. There's a tie, 8th through 10th, Miami,
Mhm,
Vegas, and Boston. Yeah, they're all tied with 20 right now. They're all,
mhm.
Miami's 2 and 3, but then, yeah, FaZe and Boston are 2 and
2 and
4,
4,
and then
yeah.
the
They
other
just
2 are
played 1
1 and
extra
4.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean, uh,
Yeah, and FaZe has to
FaZe
face Thieves on
yeah, okay.
Friday.
Thieves, Optic, and
Yeah,
Gentlemates.
Optic, and then yeah. Yeah, I mean, dude, like,
Bro, there's a chance to
again.
go 0 and 3.
Mhm. For sure. Like, it does get really scary for them, if they don't figure it out, and, again, for a
That's
lot of these teams,
insane. If
like,
FaZe doesn't make it, that is insane. Dude, Simp's gonna be like,
well,
"Get me off. We gotta
dude,
do something."
did you see Sim standing like, when I saw
Oh,
him
yeah, yeah.
stand up and, like, I was like, "Whoa," like, this
Yeah.
dude must be he must be standing like, "What the fuck, guys?" Like, "Are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
kidding me?"
He's probably
Like,
so mad.
his whole team is like, I mean, it's probably the same as what Spart was like. He's like, "Bro, it's my first day on the team, and, like, I'm
Mhm.
the only one going positive? The fuck?"
Yeah. Yeah, he's
It's the same with
consistently
him.
trying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, dude, again, just like, that's the thing about Simp, dude. It's really sick to watch him because Justin, he's literally just he's gonna be he is one of the greatest of all
Mhm.
time. That dude is just never bad. Like,
Yeah, dude, yeah, he's never bad. Yeah.
he's just always he is so reliable, so
Mhm.
dependable. Like, he's
Could
always gonna be a good player.
could you imagine a world where he went to Thieves instead?
Yeah.
Or if, like, I don't know, he didn't for whatever reason, he just wanted to go off phase and he went and signed with Toronto,
Yeah, it'd be crazy,
a
you know?
simp and Kleenex duo. Now that's any team that gets simp is gonna be a good team.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
there's a very good chance FaZe doesn't qualify.
yeah, and it's wild because you see some of these guys on these teams that are just, legends and are doing so good or have done so well in their career at times. And where they are right now, I saw Octane talking about it, and I totally agree with him with Thieves because even watching the Thieves Optic match that had happened, like, last thing on the CDL with these guys is, they have Neum on there who Neum's not bad, like he's okay. Maybe too early to say this, but I think he probably wasn't like the most optimal pick for them
Mhm,
regarding their situation. But it's wild to see that team where, again, you got Scrap, Abeezy, Hydra, like literal titans getting shit on. Like,
mhm,
just like, they barely win a hard point, could have gone either way. And then the rest of it, it's just, again, to Optic
mhm,
where they are, they're
mhm.
just like, bro, get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here. Like,
yeah, you know what
slam
it's
them,
like? It's like Abeezy, Cell, and Simp. They couldn't make the fourth one work.
Yeah.
They just
Like,
can't win. And yeah, it's still too early, but
that's a good point.
I do think that LAT, I think they are better than with Kenny, but slightly,
Yeah.
and I will say I think Neum does look good. He plays with 3 insane players, so he kinda just has to do the work that he needs to do, you know?
Right.
Um, and, I do respect, Zinni's, opinions about players, and he was talking about Neum and saying that this dude was ready. Like, he was ready as soon as he was on the Huntsman to join the league,
Yeah.
and I respect his opinion, so I'll agree with that. But I wonder what Neum would look like if he went to another team. Not saying great scenario where he's in, but he can't. You're not going to shine with Hydra and Abeezy and Scrap on your team. You're going to have to do what you just need to do,
Right.
or
Yeah.
you're
And
just a merc where he just does fucking everything.
it does everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely created an interesting landscape here within the CDL. I mean, closing out on that whole thing and just in general with it, like this has been one of the weirdest years of the CDL, but it's also because of this been one of the best. Like we've had like such a great, obviously major one that we got to go see and seeing gentlemates up there, like new team, all new people on there brought in, like from the former teams coming in. Seeing them win was awesome. Seeing Optics still do well, but now seeing just this absolute like craziness that's going on with every other team other than Optic. It makes it really interesting, and I think at the end of the day, I do think the teams that are the top teams, Thieves, FaZe, they'll definitely, they'll level out and they'll be good. I think it's crazy to write them off right now or anything. They'll just maybe be good, like Octane said with Thieves. He's like, probably by major three, they'll be a good team, which
Mhm,
I'm like, that's a very fair take. Like, no, there's no way they're a bad team all year. It's not possible in my
mhm,
view with those guys. Um, but to see where some of these other teams in the middle fall, and who kind of rises through all of that. That's what I think is going to be really interesting.
mhm.
Like Boston could just kick up and like maybe they stick with this team or they pick up another person and they kind of turn into like a Toronto where they were
Yeah.
just
Like
slump terrible. One guy totally brings them back, like resuscitated the team, you
mhm,
know? I think Spart has for sure brought some new life into that team, and given them some confidence, and especially they've all got it after that phase win. But we'll have to see with the next match. Like do they keep that ball rolling, or are they like Spart's still
mhm.
just him? He's killing, but they need to get somebody else in there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so, man. I love
I
to
hope
see
so.
the confidence from these guys. I'm glad I mean, they interviewed Snoopy. Honestly, I think they should have interviewed Spark just because he was a new guy on the
Yeah,
team,
they should
but
have. Totally. That was
people,
crazy.
joked about Snoop, being on there. I'm like, "Man, give this guy a fucking break, dude." He's just happy that they're winning, and
Well,
he needs some confidence, dude. Everyone's been shitting on him.
and I'll say too, he was over there saying like, like we're gonna win it all this shit, and people are clowning on him. I'm like, dude, how the fuck can you be like in my head? How can you be a competitor and not think
Mhm.
that?
Bro,
You know what I
and
mean?
then I don't know if you
Like,
watched the Miami one, and
no, I didn't see that one.
Super was interviewed. You gotta go back and look, and
Oh,
he
I'll go watch
said
it.
he said, something along the lines of, that "We knew we're not gonna beat these top teams, but we'll beat these middle pack teams." I'm like, "Did you just
What the
say
fuck?
that?" Like, bro, if I'm an owner and I heard that, I'm like, "What do you mean?
Yeah,
Well,
get
you're not
this
gonna
guy
beat the
out of
top
here.
teams." I'm like,
Yeah,
what? You need to think you're the best in the fucking world to beat
yeah.
these teams." Yeah, okay, you look at it realistically, you wanna be in that mid pack. It's so hard to get to the top, but then you look at Vancouver Surge last year. Bro, they're the second best team with, like, just scrap players put together. And you're telling me you don't think you can beat a top team when you're on the Heretics? Like, what? Dude, if I heard that from a player, I'm like, "All right, you're
You're checked.
fine, bro. You're
Yeah.
completely." If I heard that as a teammate, dude, if I'm Rencor who's been frying, I'm like, "What'd you just say?"
You're like, "Dude, what are we here working for?
Yeah,
Like,
you're
we're
telling
not
me, like,
here
we
to
can't
be,
beat
like."
Optic, we can't beat Thieves?
Yeah. No,
Wait,
I
what? Yeah,
again, I
check.
when people were clowning on, Snoopy for saying that, I'm like, "Dude, what the fuck do you?" Yeah, first off, what do you want him to say?
Yeah,
Like, I mean, come on, like, all these guys, like, they know, like, yeah, he's not stupid, like, he knows
mhm.
if he faces Optic, it's not gonna be a fucking easy match for him,
Yeah, it's
like,
gonna be
no
hard.
shit, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and he'll probably lose it, but damn, like, he's gonna lose it if he just gives up, like, you might
mhm.
as well try, like, who knows? Shit, I mean, look at Cloud9.
Yeah, you catch him on an
They could
off
they
day,
could
dude.
they could have been like, "Nah, fuck this,
Yeah,
like, whatever." I saw, like, I saw Sib being like, "We even playing today?" Like, that, like, bro,
yeah.
that
Oh,
mentality fucks with you. Cloud9's like, "Dude, this is a learning experience, let's fucking do it." Like, we might get shit on, but hey, like, at
yeah,
least we try,
yeah.
And then they're like and then just those 2 opposite mentalities collide,
Mhm.
and then they get the 3-2. It's like, "Fuck you."
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
that guy
I
Okus
I
snapped on Civ, won a
always
clutch of 1v2, man. It's
I always applaud Snoopy for that mentality. I have no hate towards it on there. Yeah, it would have been nice to have Sparta on there, talk some
Mhm,
shit, say something, but no, I mean again, that's what excites me about this team and, not Miami because they don't think this way. Like
Yeah.
I want to have all these teams being like, dude, we're gonna make some moves. Like we're trying, we give a damn. Like we want to improve and get there. And some of these teams, a lot of these teams are showing that, and whether they're going to be able to keep it up throughout, these qualifiers, because we still have quite a few to go
Mhm.
going into the major, only time will tell. But it's definitely
Yeah.
going to be interesting to watch it unfold.
Yeah, there's a lot of COD left for the rest of the year, and
No doubt.
right now, some of these teams, like, winning, yeah, they're probably gonna hit their ceiling earlier in the season because, like you said, I don't think a Thieves and a FaZe are gonna be at the bottom. They're not gonna be losing consistently like this. Their ceiling's
Right.
just so much higher than some of these other teams, but, hey, man, I mean, if you're a middle pack team, you enjoy it right now because it's the closest that you are to these teams, so
Right.
this is your chance to get ahead. And I mean, this weekend we saw C9 win, Falcons win, Boston win, Koi win, and we saw Thieves lose. Um, Thieves,
Phase lose.
Gentlemates, FaZe. Like, this is great.
Yeah.
Sucks for those
It,
guys, but this is great.
we saw thieves lose. This is
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Like, no,
Sorry,
it's
Hydra.
no, exactly. It just makes it really exciting. So I'd say, if you first off, you made it this far in the episode, we appreciate you. And second off, regarding the CDL stuff, if you've been watching this, obviously let us know your opinions and your thoughts on what we've been saying down on YouTube, or we'll have a comment or a like question posed and for the Spotify listeners, and just audio listeners in general, because yeah, it's such an interesting time right now, and there's a lot of different takes and opinions floating around. So I'd be curious to hear what everybody has to say about
They
it.
probably
Because
think we're delusional.
yeah, well, fucking tell us why, huh?
Bro,
Tell
Optic
us.
went 0-18 that they won champs later
Yeah,
on.
it's
Don't
like,
tell
bro,
me we're
you
delusional.
can't predict this shit. You literally
Yeah.
can't predict this shit. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't care how long people have been playing COD. Like, there's just some stuff that it's in the fate of, like, something that we can't even control. I don't know
Yeah.
what controls it, but it's some crazy shit. But yeah, I think we leave it at that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, everybody, thank you for listening to this episode number 264 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're gonna go and have, for all the audio listeners, questions that are definitely gonna be put out there. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to comment, like, subscribe. We'll go and have a question there as well. So if you have any questions for us, just put them down in the comments. We appreciate it. And then, of course, if you don't want to watch the whole episode, go to the TikTok or Instagram, give us a follow there. We appreciate it, since we post the shorts from all the episodes there. 5-star rating. Always. We
Mhm.
appreciate that. We see it. It means a lot to us and growing the community. And like we say every episode, be sure to go to the Discord, which we're going to have linked below. That's pretty much where we're talking all the time with all the fans. So if you have any questions, comments, you want to say some shit, talk about CDL, show some clips of you getting iridescent or whatever, which we do see you out there, bro.
We
What's
do.
that? What's his name again? Was it Dano? Or no,
Jordan.
I forget. Yeah, Jordan.
Shout
Shout
out
out to the
Jordan.
man. Yeah, who's iridescent, an absolute stud. We see it. Jealous.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
guy can
yeah,
do it.
you wanna talk about other video games? We can
Yeah,
talk about other
there
video
you
games too.
go.
It doesn't need to just be COD. We're casuals, guys.
Absolutely. So, again, all that stuff is going to be linked below. So be sure to just go and give us a follow there. It means the world to us. And I think that's it, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. So, again, everybody, thank you for listening to episode number 264 of the COD Casuals podcast. We're your host, Mike.
I'm Justin.
And we'll see you guys next week. Take it easy, everybody.
See ya.